Blessings, blessings. Just want to come on here. Of course, we are doing the spiritual warfare prayer book with the videos, but I want to elaborate on what is spiritual warfare. There's no sense in uh, having a book if you don't know what spiritual warfare means, okay? So, spiritual warfare is not necessarily about fighting physical battles. So, you're not going to fight spiritual warfare with your fists, okay? But rather about engaging in a spiritual struggle against forces that oppose God's will and truth. Always know spiritual warfare always comes to oppose the blessings and the promises that God has for you and your family's life. All right. So this can involve internal battles against sin and doubt, as well as external battles against negative influences and spiritual forces. So there's always a force of darkness always coming to try to come against you as you move forward in God. And so why is it important to know what spiritual warfare is? Okay. Because if you don't know what spiritual warfare is, you will not be able to recognize when the enemy is coming against you to attack you or your family. All right. And so it's important because it allows you to recognize the reality of the unseen. It acknowledges the existence of spiritual forces, both good and evil, that can influence our lives and the world around us. Okay. It encourages spiritual growth. It emphasizes the importance of cultivating a strong faith, seeking God's guidance, and developing spiritual resilience to withstand challenges. Okay. And then it also provides a framework for understanding life struggles. It offers a way to understand and address life difficulties, particularly those that seem to have no other explanation. When you don't have an explanation in the physical, you better believe it's spiritual. Okay. All right. And it promotes active faith. It activates your faith and it allows you to grow and mature in the spiritual realm so you can fight and recognize the enemy's tactics. Okay. So that's why it's important to understand spiritual warfare. Now, what are some examples of spiritual warfare? All right. Personal struggles, overcoming temptation, resisting sin, and overcoming doubt and fear. Okay. Another one is community challenges, standing firm in faith in the face of persecution and opposition. All right. Global issues, seeking God's justice and peace in a world that often seems chaotic and unjust. So a lot of confusion, a lot of just seeing temptation, a lot of and psychological warfare where the attack on the mind is so great that you can't barely fight it. And so those are examples of what spiritual warfare looks like. And so as we dive more into the book, you will learn more how to pray against the forces that cause this spiritual warfare. God bless you.